Okay, so hello everyone. We thought we'd do a little recording of the kind of just the ground around the heart dialogue because we were aware that time in our session meant that there wasn't much space to explain how that works. And so we thought we'd just give you a little bit more of an explanation of the heart dialogue, and then Hologram Heart and I will kind of dive in and just do a few minutes kind of demo for you so that you can get just a flavor of what we mean by it, because it can be quite a sort of slippery beast to kind of fully understand what the intention is and the form it takes. And so I was just saying to Hologram Heart just now, it's like, there aren't any rights and wrongs around how we do it, and yet there is a really clear intention of what it's trying to serve. And so, there's a longing for it to kind of to happen in a certain way, so it meets that kind of the need, the intention, at the same time as saying, and we're splashing around and we're seeing what happens. There's not a right or a wrong. So in terms of the form, the invitation is when you arrive with your partner. So you'll set up a time and you'll come together with your partner, and there'll be 1-3, and you'll agree how long you want to spend. And I recommend maybe 10 or 15 minutes in the actual dialogue itself, 15 as a maximum and probably 10 as a minimum. And it could be helpful to kind of, if you can, sort of set a timer maybe for a couple of minutes, just to allow yourselves to sit together quietly and just land together. And you might do 2 minutes. You might actually feel like you want longer than that. You might want to take 5-10 minutes just to sit in silence and kind of really land. That's up to you. You can decide that between you. But do set a timer just to give you some sort of time to just gently land together. And then when the time is right and you've done your kind of just sitting and being with yourself and landing in your body and in your heart, then set the timer to give you your 10 or 15 minutes that you'll go into the heart dialogue. And for the heart dialogue itself, you're kind of starting with what we did in the now dialogue in terms of just tracking. You're noticing, bringing your attention into your body, into your heart, and just noticing what's here. And it's a really energetic thing. So it can be really helpful, I find, to close your eyes to begin with to do this, because when our eyes are open, it's like there are so many things grabbing our attention, and it's actually quite difficult to really kind of keep our attention in when our eyes are open. And so we're kind of going to be moving into that, but as a kind of starting point, it's really helpful to just close the eyes, take a deep breath, and just notice what's here, like you did with the now dialogue. And then once you kind of are aware of what's going on in your body and your heart, or maybe you're aware that you can't feel anything going on in your body and your heart, that's fine too. You might then feel ready to open your eyes. And Hologram Heart and I can go into this now. So we open our eyes and we just look at the other. And from this place of already having some awareness in our being of what's arising, just notice what's happening now as we take this other one in. And just allowing some time to let that settle in you. Just letting your creaturely being adjust to having another here with you in your awareness. Seeing how that impacts what's happening in your body and your heart. And if at any point what's happening in your body and heart feels too much, you can close your eyes and just come back in. And if that's what's needed, that's always welcome. Just paying attention and noticing is what's all that's being asked here. And then when one of you's ready, you'll speak. And the invitation is to speak what you're noticing in your body. And what tends to happen with the heart dialogue is it starts with what's very much in my body. And then as you hear your partner share what's happening in theirs, it starts to kind of become this heart dialogue that is including more of like how we're impacting each other. And so it's not that you have to only talk about how you're being impacted by the other, but that's invited to be included. And, you know, you might spend the whole dialogue just talking about what's going on in your body, and it might not have anything to do with the other person. Just what's true is there. So we'll just drop back in because I'm obviously pulsing in and out of giving instructions at the same time as doing the dialogue. So we'll just drop back in. And I'm going to start. So one of you will feel moved to start. I'm going to start and just name. I'm noticing there's kind of like this very fine kind of energy that I'm noticing kind of moving in my body, like it's in my arms and it's in my front line. Yeah, it's like, it's almost like a really, I'm doing this with my fingers. It's like an energy that's like really tightly kind of energetic kind of stream. And there's like a sort of sensation in my chest that kind of almost on the end of being pain. Just feel in my chest. And just having said that, I notice my mind. It's like in the space that then is left, the silence. I just notice my mind, beloved mind, come in with some activity.
I notice a lot of itchiness in my body, my head, my forehead, my shoulders. My skin feels very itchy, especially in the top half of my body, which makes me like a little bit antsy feeling, a layer of physical kind of sensation arousal. Yeah, and I notice when I hear you say that there's the tightness and the on the edge of pain, I can feel my heart sort of opening and reaching out to you and wanting to come close and be alongside you in that experience, that sort of like, oh, the care in my heart.
I'm noticing, like, as you speak this last piece of the care, it's like this expansion in my heart, and it's like it feels like my lips are kind of moving into a smile, and there's like this sort of almost like sort of puppetry of like the movement of my lips into a smile is kind of in sync with this expansion in my chest, in my heart, of like just this letting love in and just appreciation. And I'm sort of feeling this sort of chuckle because I had exactly the same feeling of care when you spoke about the angst and the sensation in your body of the itching, and that led to angst. And I had a very similar, as you described it, there was like a, like the care and the heart. So as I speak that, I kind of feel the chuckle, and there's a certain quality energetically in my body with the chuckle and the smile. It's like I guess as I'm speaking all of this, I'm then becoming aware of the we space. It's like, oh, space in between, even though I see a screen, it's like I can feel the quality of the we space, of the space between us, which is beautiful. Oh,
As you name the we space, I can feel kind of a sense of relief in my heart, and there's some tear welling,
mm,
some gentle tear welling there. And while you were speaking, I could really feel my back body. I could really feel like my my spine. Before I was feeling very much sort of the front body and this part, and like being listening to your care and the we space, like I was able to sort of land in my own central axis more fully. A sense of like my own three-dimensionality, solidity. Yeah.
Mm.
And like, yeah, and that makes me sort of, I feel a lot of kind of gratitude and appreciation for, or like recognition of how that we space allows me to feel my own solidity and three-dimensionality more fully. I can rest in that.
Mm. I'm noticing various kind of bodily sensations, like there's still this slight pain in my chest and some sensation around my jaw. And I'm noticing how receiving the words that you've just shared around the kind of feeling your back body and the kind of the axis of uprightness that kind of had awoken in you. It's like literally your words awoke that in me. Like it was just this real gift of like feeling the mirror in me. The mirror neurons woke up and just like, oh yeah, and just noticing the quality of how something about that feeling the 3D-ness, the the 5D-ness, and then that somehow allowing the kind of this pain in my chest and this sort of sensation, it gives this quality of feeling it in my body, but also feeling myself as the space within which all of that's arising. It's something spacious that happens as the back body and the uprightness comes in. It somehow opens my whole body energetically to the everythingness that we are, not just this small little body that has pain. Yeah.
I notice I'm still feeling itchy. The itchy is still there. And I kind of had a little yawn while you were speaking, like a release yawn, as you spoke about the space that it awoke, that the awakening of the three-dimensionality and spine that my words gifted you with. And then you spoke of that space. It was like, oh yeah, and that gifted me with the yawn of release. And as more and more feeling my own body, like I'm noticing, oh yeah, the longer we're together and doing this, the kind of the more of me I can feel. Like I'm trusting this space enough that I can allow myself to be aware of myself because of the safety there. And so I'm noticing there's the itchiness, but there's also like some pain in my tooth because I have a seed stuck in there from lunch, and it's like other things that are happening in my body are revealing themselves to me. So sort of like the opposite of what you said. You said there was all this space, not just the pain, and I'm like, oh, now there's actually room for all of me to reveal their stories, all the parts of me to reveal how they're doing as part of this whole.
Beautiful. I'm gonna end by saying, amazingly, literally at exactly the same moment you were saying all of that around noticing more coming in, I was having exactly the same experience of like, oh, wow, I'm noticing so much more of my body compared to when we first started.
Yeah.
So by way of kind of this being the demo for you all watching, so at this point a bell would be going off and saying, I've never done heart dialogue, and I've done a lot of heart dialogue over the last 10 years. I've never done it and not come away being like, oh my God, I need to do that more. Like, you may not find that, but everyone I know that does heart dialogue always like, why don't I do this more? It's so nourishing. So the bell will go off, and then you'll just take a moment with your partner to kind of just say, how was that? So maybe Hologram Heart and I will just do that now for a few moments. how was that? Like, yeah.
Yeah, I think we should build that into our starter culture meetings after we do after we do our drop-in. Maybe we should do that before the check-in, or I don't know. Like it's a way of, I really feel the, I mean, it's not the first time I've done something like that, of course, but in this context, you know, recognizing, oh yeah, we've never actually done that before in that way together. Feeling really nourished and also inspired that to bring that into our meetings.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't do it very often on Zoom. Like I do it more with people, you know, friends and peers in my community here. So yeah, I'm noticing what a resource it is on Zoom, because I am a creature that finds Zoom really challenging. Like my being finds it very difficult to land in itself, you know. So it's a really good reminder of, oh yeah, particularly when I'm on a screen, this is a really important practice. And yeah, just really with how whatever is happening pre the heart dialogue, whatever state my being is in, whatever stories, whatever drama is going on, there's something about the directness of the heart dialogue that is really confining to, like, it's not about the stories, it's not about the mind, it's about the simplicity of the direct experience in the moment in relationship, that I find so nourishing. Like, just it's a complete spell cast, you know. It's like it shifts consciousness, because it's like, oh yeah. So yeah, really glad that it is like you say, it's funny that we've not actually been integrating this yet as a practice within starter culture, and we will now.
We will now.
So thank you all out there watching this for inspiring us.
Yeah.
That has created the opportunity for us to now integrate this into our own organizational culture. So yeah, so I hope this is helpful for you all listening. And if you do have any questions, having watched this, having read the guidelines, then obviously drop us an email, and happy to kind of answer any questions. And I really hope that you will dive in, and hope that it will be nourishing. Yeah.
Thank you, Wild Ally.
Thank you, Hologram Heart. All right. Bye for now.
Bye.